You're just moments away from a brand new episode of WTF Nations Radio's Pop Culture Warrior, hosted by the dynamic duo CQ and Radar. Pop Culture Warrior is your number one source for all things entertainment. If it's happening in TV, movies, video games, or comedy, they're all over it. And don't forget to say hi in the comments below. And while you're at it, let the boys know what you think and what you'd like to hear them talk about. Now strap in and get comfortable, because you're in for one hell of a ride. This is Pop Culture Warrior. Shots. And don't forget to say hi.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Today is June 2nd. No, 1st. Shit. Today is June 1st. 2021, and this is episode 59 of Pop Culture Warrior, the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture, so you don't have to. I am CQ. I'm the Pop Culture Warrior, and with me, as always, is our very own. What are we going to call you? Today we're going to call you our very own senior contributor. Get it? Senior contributor. Yeah. Senior. The man in the bubble, the voice of the unpop culture, Mr. Radar.
What's up?
What's going on?
Everybody?
I see you rocking a special thing there, sir.
I did. I got a package in the mail.
You got my package? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I cannot write comments in the chats.
Yeah, I blocked you. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Okay. No, I think because I don't know if this is only me. I feel like it's not only me.
Yeah.
But I keep getting zucked for shit I posted like 5-6 years ago. There was one from like legit 2009. They're like, this post is not. I was like, that's fucking dude. That was over 10 years ago. Like the statute of limitations is gone, Zuckerberg. You cannot ban me for that shit.
Oh man. All right. Well, anyway, nice shirt.
I love it. It fits me well.
Oh, you're welcome.
I love it.
I'm not wearing my typical CQ hat, man. Not wearing my typical CQ hat. I figured, yesterday was Memorial Day, so in honor and reverence and I'm wearing my old unit, 173rd Airborne. Fury from the sky. What's up? Death from above. So anyway.
I think that's why you're talking about your back being a little sore. And I was thinking about that today too. Like I was running around and at work, and one of the guys like, I got a little hitch in my giddy up because I hurt my foot, and I usually my back hurts, my knees hurt and stuff, and so I was like, one of the guys was like, God, She looked like shit today. I was like, well, I spent my 20s jumping out of fucking airplanes. So
Right? Right? Ah, I feel like such an old man. We start talking about our injuries. Anyway, big shout out to everybody.
Injuries, but here we are.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We got some people out there. That my chat thing's not. It's acting weird, man. It keeps like.
All right, good. I don't feel bad then.
Yeah, it's not. It's if you're out there, I see Jim. I see your comments there, but my chat seems to be going in and out. I closed it earlier.
Hi, Jim Handy. I'm trying to talk to you, dude, and I keep hitting the thing and like nothing's happening.
Yeah, I don't know. It's acting weird tonight. That's fine. Whatever. I think we can see you. I think I can see your comments. It just kind of comes and goes. So yeah, big up. So today's the day. Today's one of the big thing. Big things happening. We're gonna have a winner. I put out the post. We shared it everywhere. If you didn't do the thing, you're not in the thing. I think we have 37 official entrants into the drawing, and Radar, you're not even in there.
You know what?
Shame.
I was thinking about it. And like I was going to, and then as I was like going to do it, I was like, that's kind of douchey. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to win, that'd be really shitty.
Hey,
I'd feel bad.
And so the rule stipulates anyone can win. You like the page, you share the post, you can win.
I know, but it's just kind of one of those deals. Like, I'm in it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here. Like,
you got the grand prize.
It's like if your wife won. You know what I mean? Like,
she entered into the competition.
You just pack up the box and go take it in the living room.
Yeah, I'm like, here, babe. Here you go. Congratulations.
She's like, let me go pick my own stuff.
Yeah. I want you to get rid of that crap. Don't give it to me. Yeah. I mean, I try to keep it fair and open to everyone. There may be some staff members who have entered the contest. Hey, it's open for everybody. That's the deal. This isn't a WTF prize. This is a Pop Culture Warrior prize. So,
and like I said, I would feel bad. Me, Radar, personally, I would feel bad if I were to win it. When someone out there, like one of our guests that we interact with, and like then they love the show, like I don't want it to be like or like give the appearance that it's somehow rigged or some shit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
yeah, I've went through great length to be upfront and transparent when we do the prize later today. It's on a web app. It's on a web thing. You'll see. I'll shuffle it. The names are there. I'll shuffle. It spins. It picks at random. My hands are up here. Like you're in Vegas. I'm doing this the whole time, so you can see I'm not rigging the results in any way. Jazz hands. So today, second hour, we've got a pretty cool dude coming on, Erik Kain. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Watch it be like Khan or something like that, but I believe it's Erik Kain. He is the senior contributor for Forbes. This guy writes their gaming stuff, their TV stuff, their movie stuff. So he's the pop culture warrior of Forbes, and I'm looking forward to that conversation because I'm sure he's got a lot to say on a lot of the subjects we kind of cover, and how he got there, and who knows, maybe if you're an aspiring writer or vlogger or blogger or whatever out there, you can learn something. If you guys have questions for Erik, throw them in the chats. We'll capture them. We'll run them by him when he's on later today. So we'll do the giveaway after the interview. Sorry, you're gonna have to hang in there if you want to know who wins. So we'll do that after the interview. Of course, if you do win and you didn't see it live, I still will reach out to you because it's fair. And other than that, the latest thing, and here comes where I I hate myself and I kick myself because I went ahead and created a Patreon page for this show, Pop Culture Warrior. So if you go to patreon.com/popculturewarrior, that's a page. For those that don't know what Patreon is, it's basically a platform that says, hey, we're a small little rinky-dink, operation here. None of us are getting paid. This is completely voluntary, and it costs money. It costs money to do shows like this. And you know, it's just a way to say, hey, you contribute, and as a thank you, in return, there's multiple tiers. You know, you contribute what you can. You fall into one of those tiers, and you get exclusive stuff, you get exclusive content. So,
what's an example of some kind of exclusive content that somebody were to get if they were to join your page?
Sure, absolutely. So, you know, the low tier. Let's say you just want to contribute a couple bucks. You're not desperately in love with me. You don't need to know everything that's going on. The idea is you'll get, you know, never before seen footage. You'll see when we upload videos and things, because the YouTube page is gonna start kicking up at a higher frequency. When we upload, there'll be like a 1 to 2 week delay on videos. You'll get access to the videos before anybody else, so you get early access to videos. You'll be part of the community chat. So when we're asking about maybe potential guests, potential segments, things you want to see covered, you have like when we do polls and stuff like that, it's all internal to Patreon, and you know, you'll have priority. You'll have access to all that. As we get bigger and bigger celebrities, you know, I can only assume questions will become more frequent, and so people that are Patreon supporters will get priority, right? They've paid a fee to kind of get in the front of the line, so to speak. And so they'll get, you know, you'll make sure you get your questions answered by such and such celebrity. You know, and then we'll do a bunch of other things, you know, shout outs. You know, we're going to create a graphic that says thank you to our supporters. And then at higher and higher levels of, you know, the interactivity, you know, it grows. You become more integral to the show, to the highest level, which isn't even much. Let's be honest. It's $25. It's not much. But when we do our fantasy football league, I'm going to create a Pop Culture Warrior fantasy football league. You'll be invited into the league. You know, if you have a podcast and you want me to come on and talk the same smack shit I talk here, I'll come on. I'll bring Radar on if you want him. If you don't want him, I'll leave him home. You know, so
you're gonna pimp out Radar.
I'll pimp out Radar for 25. Radar will do whatever you want. Whatever you want for him to do for you, he'll do it for you. $25 a month.
$25. Go on people's houses, their carpets and shit.
He'll build you a chicken coop like he just did the other day. So
I did. I my chicken coop. I did. I got her done.
So yeah. So you can check it out. It's people like the pimp out Radar. They like it. They like it. Oh, hey Pete, I see you out there. He says, how much are the different tiers? It is. I wanted to make it reasonable, right? Because it's. I mean, you see some of these like hundreds of dollars. That's ridiculous. So it's literally $3,925. So the other thing is at the 9 level, you'll get exclusive. It's like a sticker and a mini poster, and then at the 25, it's a really cool program. It's like a loyalty program. So you'll get 4 exclusive gifts throughout the year. You'll get like the sticker, a mug, a T-shirt, a hoodie. It mixes it up. But you know, you'll get that as part of it. So, you know, you figure a hoodie is like $45. So that's practically 2 months of membership gets you that hoodie right there. You know what I mean? And then, you know, obviously the mug and the other thing. So, it's a way of saying thank you for your support, and it eats into my profits, so to speak, but it's worth it because I think you should get something physical for your hard earned dollars. I don't want to take people's money, but anyway, the idea is that as I can get money from that, we can do more and more with the show. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this. I hate self-promotion, but the more we can get back, I have some really cool ideas, some animations I want to do for the show, some segments I want to do for the show. The big thing is, as I'm, you know, this is the live show. As I produce and edit the back end videos, it takes up a lot of time. It limits me from doing other things. So if I could get a little bit of monthly income, yeah, I'm not retiring off of this money by any chance, but that'd be enough money to, let's say, hire an editor who can go in, edit those videos, and it's one less thing I have to focus on, so I can do more for the live show. I can do more. We can do more segments. We can do more things. So,
yes.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about that. I wasted way too much time talking about that crap.
Well, I just fed into it. I'm sorry.
you bet. How do we sign up? Oh, hey, Naomi. How do we sign up? Patreon.com/popculturewarrior. The link I think is in the description. Yeah, I don't like self promotion, man. I feel icky about it. I feel icky about it, but hey, Thunder Mike, what's up? What's going on in YouTube? I like that name, Thunder Mike. Feels good. But all right, so so much to cover, so little time. Let's start with movie news. Movie news. I still see. I need music. I need like a theme, like a beat every time we switch topics. These are the things. These are the things that take time to produce. Have you seen the recent release on Netflix of Army of the Dead, brought to you by Zack Snyder?
I have not seen it.
Have not seen it.
I wanted to, and I got caught up in something else. And
Sure.
We'll talk about that later.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't. You know me. I don't want to do spoilers for those people that it just came out about a week ago. I mean, I'm technically safe on spoiler. Because it's been a week.
Whatever. That's
but no. Is it worth a watch? Right. That's what we always talk about. Is it worth my time? Mm-hmm. And I probably should have wrote down my thoughts, but no, it's good. It's not a great movie by any by any stretch of the imagination. It's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. If you like zombies movies, if you like action, if you like a movie if you like Fast and the Furious, right, where you can just sit back, enjoy the show without really going like that doesn't make sense. You can enjoy this movie. You can absolutely enjoy this movie. I think it does. If you saw the trailer, right? Like if you saw the trailer and you went, "Oh, that looks like something I'd like to watch," then you're gonna enjoy that movie. If you saw the trailer and you're like, "That looks stupid," you're not gonna enjoy the movie. That's what it boils down to. It delivers exactly what it promises. There you go. That's the best review I can give without spoiling anything. There definitely is a hint that there could be a follow-up. I won't say it ends necessarily on a cliffhanger, but there's kind of like they left the door open a bit maybe. And there are things that I like about the movie, things I don't really like about the movie, but I don't want to go into spoiler territory, so we'll leave it at that. One thing we can talk about that I find extremely fascinating, because you know me, I find like the behind the scenes stuff sometimes more fascinating than the actual thing itself. The movie stars like Batista and a couple of other big names. One of the people that's in it is this female comedian, Tig Notaro. Now, not a lot of people know about Tig Notaro. I'm a big fan. I've seen a lot of her work. As fellow comedian, I like to keep up, but no. I think she's awesome. Now, in her scenes, it feels a bit off, and it's hard to describe. And come to find out, she's really not in the movie. I'm gonna set the bait there. She's obviously in the movie, but apparently, what had happened was that her character was originally played by Chris D'Ella, whatever. Chris D'Ella. He's a controversial comedian, talk show host, like the podcast host, and he was in Whitney Cummings when she did her show Whitney. He was the boyfriend. He's done a bunch of shows. He's kind of an asshole. That's kind of his thing. And apparently, a couple months ago, here's the crazy thing. After they shot the movie, now he plays the helicopter pilot. I'm not giving anything away because it happens right at the beginning. But he plays the helicopter pilot in this ragtag team of misfits. They finished filming completely by 2020. And during the hiatus of COVID and while they're editing the movie and stuff, comes out Chris D'Elia. He was accused of sexually harassing underage girls. And it was coming out on social media and a bunch of things happened. And so the question for the studio and the director and all that becomes, well, you can't necessarily cut out his role because he's not just a guy who, let's say, dies, right? Where you're like, well, we can cut it out and it's not, he's the pilot, which, gets the team in and out and whatever. So you can't really cut that scene with the movie making any kind of sense. And so they had to make the decision to, okay, we're going to cut him out of it and replace him. So this is after all the filming is done. They're literally working on special effects at this point. They had to get Tig Notaro to come in, shoot all of her stuff on green screen, and then digitally put her in the movie. She never met anyone she's in the movie with.
Huh.
Even though they share scenes together, because it was all digitally added post-production. Now, there was one female character, Maria. She plays Maria Cruz. Her name's Ana de la Reguera. Oh, terrible pronunciation, but she plays Maria Cruz in the film. There was one scene where, like, she hands her this thing, and I'm not gonna, again, no spoilers, but she hands her this thing, and they interact. And so for that specific scene, they brought back that actress. So she had that one scene in person with someone else, and outside of that, even though she's in the entire movie, she never shared a scene with anyone else. So they said of the 1,200 total shots in this movie, right? The shot is one frame, they do a scene. 1,200 shots. Tig Notaro ends up being in 250 of them. So you're looking at, what's that? A little more than a quarter? Maybe a third, almost a third of the movie she's in, but she shot her stuff months after principal photography was shut down, which cost them, this cost them a pretty penny. Let me tell you something. You got to understand that, what was it? I had it here. Netflix worked with 5 separate vendors on the project, each vendor having anywhere from 200 to 350 employees to make this happen. This is after the fact, right? Film, all that got shut down. They're doing all their editing stuff, and they hire 5 companies with 200 to 350 employees to do this in like 4 months, to completely erase someone from existence and add a new. And the director went on record saying, he goes, "Oh, it was so difficult, mostly because when they shot it outside, natural sunlight, because it's like, it looks spectacular. It's, they're in the desert, they're in Las Vegas, and then when they go back and shoot green screen, you can't shoot in direct sunlight because you can't green screen that out. So they have to green screen her in, or erase him, green screen her in, and then like match all this natural light with computer animation, which, I saw one person complain there was a lot of like lens flare and a lot of like screen flicker, like it was too artsy. And I'm like, I think they mostly did that to kind of hide a lot of the green screen trickery they were doing there. Like they just had to do it. But yeah, so again, is it worth a watch? If you're into that kind of thing, I think it's definitely worth a watch. By no means is this something that's like, oh my God, this is a game changer. It's a classic zombie movie, man. Team goes in, fight zombies, things happen. The end.
Shit happens, some good, some bad.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it, but so we have that. What else do we have in the? Ooh, this is a good one. This one makes me happy. This one just puts a smile on my face. Okay, let me. I got something for you here. Where we at? There we are. Hello. So this picture was just released literally minutes ago. I grabbed this 3 minutes before going on air. Chris Hemsworth himself posted this on Instagram and said, "That's a wrap. Thor is finished shooting. They have finished principal photography on Thor: Love and Thunder." So he put the comment under this photo. That's a wrap on Thor: Love and Thunder. It's also National Don't Flex Day. So I thought this super relaxed photo was appropriate. The film is gonna be batshit crazy, off the wall funny, and might also pull a heartstring or two. Lots of love, lots of thunder. Thank you to the cast and crew, making another incredible Marvel journey. So he's swole. He got some big arms. That's massive.
They're bigger than my fucking legs. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's it. And for him to be, that's a relaxed stance. He's not flexing in that picture. So, ooh, that's scary. I just think of someone hitting you with like a full fist of that, and just that's gonna hurt.
Well, maybe.
You don't think getting punched by
But okay, I don't know.
by Thor,
There are dudes that I know,
hmm
right?
where it's all show.
It's all show.
Yeah,
It's all show. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like I don't know about him in particular.
yeah,
Like he's not like a boxer, dude. You know what I mean? He's
yeah.
not like a fighter. He doesn't like parlay on the side for like UFC or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
What if though? No, I agree with you.
I don't know. I don't know
I
his background, like, how he trains.
completely
'Cause some of those guys do Krav Maga and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, and they actually train like they do
they
have
do
boxing
fight,
as
yeah,
part of
combatives, yeah, combat training. No,
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, and like I think of like, okay, when you see these massive bodybuilders with like when they flex, there's like muscle on top of muscle on top of muscle on top of muscle. You don't have the mobility and flexibility to generate any power. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't swing. But I
Yeah.
mean, you see Chris Hemsworth when he's in a movie like, what was it, Extraction, and he's like, barrel rolling over the car and jumping down and grabbing the dude, and like obviously it's Hollywood magic, but I mean it's him doing these maneuvers, and not, it's not like jumping off a building like, oh yeah, that was really him. Like these are actually him, doing these action things, and you can see he's got speed, he's got athleticism, and I feel like that plus just ginormous
And
pythons.
be built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah. Which I think straight from this, he goes into shooting the Hulk Hogan biopic. So I'm sure he's going to like parlay these giant arms into playing Hulk Hogan.
Well, yeah. Then he needs to get back into Fat Thor.
He's
Hulk Hogan.
playing Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan was in shape. Not Hulk Hogan
okay,
now.
But at the end of it,
Yeah. At the end of it, he puts on
Yeah,
the Fat Thor
Hulk
outfit.
Hogan.
Yeah, exactly. But I just can't imagine seeing Chris
Is
Hemsworth.
Hulk Hogan's daughter still hot?
Is who?
Hulk Hogan's daughter, wasn't she hot?
Brooke Hogan? You know her
Sure.
name? I don't know. I'm sure you'll Google it quickly.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Let us know. But no, can you imagine this Chris Hemsworth, this guy in the picture here, with like the top shaved off to look like Hulk Hogan? It's gonna look weird. It's gonna look so weird. And the big Hulk Hogan, mustache. It's gonna look so weird. I mean, it's gonna look good. I mean, look good in the sense
Yeah,
of
she's
like
fine.
the guy. Oh, I'm sure celebrities do that. Okay, enough staring.
Yeah, she all right. She's so good.
Enough staring at Thor, soon to be Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, you can stare at Thor all you want. I'm looking at Brooke Hogan. She's
Okay.
so hot.
So, true story time. I'm gonna take you on a quick true story. I was at a Comic-Con once. I think it was Philly Wizard World Con, something like that. And I was walking through the areas, and of course, I'm on my phone. I'm walking through the crowds, and I walked into a wall, and I went like boom, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope nobody saw that. That's so embarrassing. And then as I look up from my phone, I'm looking at like a pair of pecs. And then I look up, and it's Chris Hemsworth. I'm looking at fucking Thor. I would say in the face, but really I was like at nipple level. And I looked at him, and I'm like, ah. And now I've met celebrities. I've met actors. I think there's a difference when you're prepared for it, when you're building up for it, versus when it was like bam, it hit me, because I've never been tongue tied before, and I was just like, and I cannot do the accent, but he's like, hey, you all right, mate, and I was just like, and he's just, I think he thought I was like special needs or something. He's like, all right, good on you, and like, gave me a pat, and then like walked away, and I was just like, like I had nothing to say. But yeah, that was the time I met Thor. Oh, it was so awesome.
That you ran into Thor and couldn't
I couldn't
you
talk.
couldn't form words.
I
That
couldn't.
sounds awesome.
He took it away from me. He took my ability to speak away from me. What was it? No homo. The when we saw Thor in theaters, I swear there's the one scene where like he takes off his shirt, and I literally was like, oh. And my wife was next to me. She's like, what was that? I was like, I was just impressed. I was like, whoa.
Just admiring.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
homo.
damn. And then at one point I literally leaned over her, and I'm like, His eyes are so blue.
Oh, jeez.
They're just deep oceans of blue. All right, enough. I'm sweating.
Your,
Whew.
your wife's not gonna let you watch the new
Oh my
Thor movie.
goodness. Oh my God. I'm getting verklempt over here. Anyway, moving on from Thor. I got okay.
As Thor, apparently you can't move fast.
So speaking of Thor, no. So for you guys that are into the Star Wars stuff, obviously the latest trilogy was hit or miss, depending on where you fall on the spectrum. Some people liked it, some people loved it, some people hated it, whatever. Obviously the brains behind the third trilogy, second oldest trilogy, I don't know, however you want, the 7 through 9. The guy behind 7 through 9 was J.J. Abrams. He directed the first one, walked away for the second one, and then came back and did the third one. Well, it's been said very often that he had no plan going into it. And you would think like, oh no, these are $1 billion movies. There's a plan. There's scripts, obviously. But he's finally gone out and publicly admitted, I probably should have had a plan. I probably should have had a plan on, because and basically what it boils down to is like, he's like, I focused on one. I did the best story I could in one and just figured it would work itself out. And it's like, part of me is like, that's great that you're not trying to shoehorn in a story that's in a bigger part of a narrative that like you need, like, but at the same time, if you're making a trilogy, you really should have an idea of where that trilogy is going. Basically, this was a direct quote. During an interview with Collider, he said, "You just never really know, but having a plan, I have learned, in some cases the hard way, is the most critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up. You don't know what to emphasize, because if you don't know the inevitable of the story, you're just as good as your last sequence or effect or joke or whatever, but you want to be leading to something inevitable." So I thought about this and I sat on this for a little bit and I went, why in the hell would you not have a plan? That makes no sense. Why would you know you're making a trilogy? Because it was announced off the get it was going to be another trilogy. Why would you make it part one of a trilogy having no plan for 2 or 3? Now, it goes on, and he goes on to state, that he comes from TV production, right? That's where he kind of cracked his teeth on it. And an overarching journey in TV is a good thing, but they likened it to when you have that season break, right? When you finish the season and there's some time before the next season, they can take the audience's reaction from that season to mold the next season of TV. So he's basically saying that the plan was see what sticks in the first one, build off that in the second one. And obviously we know how that worked out. There was a lot of strife about, when, what was his name? Ryan or whatever his name came in for the second one. And he's like, I walked in the door like, all right, let's do this. What's the plan? And they're like, do what you think works. And it's like, wait, what? Like I gotta pick up what this guy left and do my own thing and set up for another thing and with really no roadmap. So the quote ends with, I've been involved in a number of projects that have been, in most cases, series that have ideas that begin the thing where you feel like you know where it's going to go. And you're like, oh, that's a small moment. That's a 1-episode character. Suddenly it becomes hugely important part of the story. And the lesson I learned a few times is that, hey, you can build off that. But, yada, yada, yada. He had no plan. He really should have had a plan. This is not network TV. You can't do that. There are plenty of times, in fact, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, the Friends reunion. And they talked about how Monica and Chandler, it was the last episode of the season. They hooked up. It was going to be just this awkward thing. Might have a few jokes later on, but they were never supposed to become like Monica and Chandler. But the audience reaction was so huge and so positive and so everybody loved it that they just kept it running. So that's a situation where this one-off thing becomes part of the next chapter of the story. And he applied that to the Star Wars universe and the Star Trek universe, and not to the best reviews, let's say. So that's that. Thoughts, Mr. Radar?
No, I'm you're going. Go, keep going.
Are you just looking at pictures of Brooke Hogan?
No, I'm done with looking at Brooke Hogan.
Let's see.
No,
Comment.
I don't know. Like, what do you want me to add to that? First off, you're like the subject matter expert on that shit.
I mean, yeah,
right?
but
Secondly,
your thoughts on? Okay, let me ask you a question. Your thoughts on going into a movie production with the mentality of a TV production where we know this story and we'll see where it goes.
I mean, I get that for TV, and you already have like a cast and kind of a direction you're taking the show, but maybe not like a whole. Okay, I think it's something like The Walking Dead, right? That's a pretty good franchise, right?
Yep.
And the writers and directors and stuff can kind of take the show in the direction they want to go. And if they kind of have a little hiccup in one show, it's whatever. The ship's still cruising that way.
Yeah.
Right. Or if you take something like the MCU or Star Wars or any of these big kind of film universes that they're building up, and kind of, I'm not saying you can't like, oh, this character is real popular, we should have them more in the next show.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But you can't like just not. You have to kind of steer the ship a little bit more as you don't have the time for character development and don't have the time for plot development. You have to kind of fill in those gaps with, just inferences, you know what I mean? And when you have a direction that's going, it's something like The Mandalorian per se, you know what I mean? Even in The Mandalorian, like they had a little more time to build the characters and build the plot, but it was still going in a direction. I keep getting my microphone, I'm sorry, this thing's dumb. But I don't know. It's kind of a hard. I get where he would struggle with that, but also like, I mean, if you're gonna put your eggs in that basket, you should check out the basket before you throw your eggs in there.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Scott Rosa says, I think Daisy Riddle said Ridley. Daisy Ridley said that they were still. Dude, I'm so bad with names. I don't know why. I think Daisy Ridley said they were still debating on who her family origin was going to be even halfway through the last movie. And that's true. I've heard that they had no idea how to wrap up certain plot points that they themselves had put in the movie. They just had no idea. Hey, what's up, Jose? Thanks for saying hi. I appreciate when people say hi. Hi, guys. It's interesting to see. Like, you think this, I don't know, $80 bajillion franchise would kind of more or less have a blueprint, would kind of more or less have a roadmap. And there's like, nah, we were just doing cocaine and hookers. We were just letting it ride. It's like C3PO was there, and the Emperor was there, and we just let it ride. Like all right, that it kind of makes sense now. Kind of makes sense. You need a visionary the way that George Lucas was, where he had the whole story more or less in his mind. But yeah, moving on. We're moving on. I'm excited for this one. So we've talked about this recently, not even that long ago, that the Spider-Man universe, right? They've got Venom. Mm-hmm. Now Venom 2 coming. We know Morbius is in the bag. They have finally announced who's next in the queue, who's next in the line, and it's going to be Kraven the Hunter that's getting his own solo Marvel Sony ran movie. And not only did they announce the movie, they announced who they've got tapped to star as Kraven the Hunter, someone we know very well in the Marvel Universe, Aaron Taylor Johnson, for those who don't know by the name. And I picked a picture that he had the beard because it makes it look good for the photo. But that's the guy that played Quicksilver. That's Wanda's brother, the real one, not the boner one. That's from Kick-Ass and all these other movies, which begs the question again of how, like, is their universe connected to ours? Because then Craven's gonna have a very strange resemblance to Wanda's brother. Very stark resemblance. They look very similar. But yeah. So this came out. Sony announced it because at first the story broke and it was a leak. Sony finally announced it that said, "Yep, we did. We tapped Avengers: Age of Ultron star, the guy who played Quicksilver, to play Sergei Kravenov, Kraven the Hunter." According to reports, they have C.J. Chander is going to direct the movie, and this is them continuing to build that Spider-Man universe, their own Marvel universe, and it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. There was another report too that it's funny because in one breath, the director of Venom was saying how, because you can't have Spider-Man without these people. Like you can't have these people without Spider-Man. That's the way it's supposed to be. And so in one breath, the director of Venom 2 is going, "Oh, once you see this movie, you're not even gonna be thinking about Spider-Man. Like, this movie's so good, it stands alone on its own." But then, like, the studio head is going like, "Oh no, we've got plans to incorporate Spider-Man. Like, that's what's gonna pull all this together. Is gonna be Spider-Man's gonna be at the center of it, and he's gonna pull all these characters together." So it's funny to me that again we see this case of like director vision movie versus studios, executives, and whatever. And this is why Marvel does it well, and some of the other studios don't, because there's a communication gap from the top to the bottom. And so anyway, point is they seem to be building out their rogues gallery, and then I guess the assumption would be that at some point they're going to drop Spider-Man in the middle and say, "Hey, Sinister Six movie. Bring in Morbius, bring in Kraven, bring in this guy, bring in that guy, whatever." And, we're all going to jump the dude. The problem I see with that, as awesome as it would be, and I'd love to see it, in these movies, even the villain that they're supposed to be, Venom, Morbius, now Kraven, they never really strike you as a villain. They never come across as a villain. They come across as the anti-hero, like a Punisher, where they're doing bad, ambiguously gray, like they're in the moral gray area of their actions, but you can't say can't outright say that they're being villainous. They're not robbing banks and burning up orphanages and shit. They're just fighting for their survival and yada yada yada. So it's one of those things that I don't know. What do you think? Are you excited for the idea of a Kraven the Hunter movie?
Yes.
I love your simplicity. I love.
Well, I mean, like, you get. I mean, like, I don't know, make it good. Make it not suck.
Yes. Yeah. I gotta create a button that every time you say that, I hit the button, and then like a stamp. It's like, boom, make it good. Like,
make it good, baby. No, but okay, but enough. I mean, Marvel's been doing great.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
Marvel Studios, Marvel has been doing great.
Yes.
Other Marvel.
If they can tie it all together and make it work and make it good, I mean, it'll be all right.
Yeah. And for those unfamiliar with Kraven the Hunter, he is the Russian aristocrat. He's been in Marvel since like 1964. He's a main rogue of Spider-Man. He's in. He's a big game hunter who obsesses over getting the biggest kills, and at some point decides that Spider-Man would be the deadliest game to hunt. I don't know. He drank a mystical potion that gave him superhuman powers, so he can like stalk like an animal, and he's fast and he's strong and blah 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 blah. But it's just it's a little. I just curious, like, how do you make this without it being silly? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you can do Venom and go for kind of like that horror scare kind of a thing. Same with Morbius, right? Very dark, evil, menacing. But this is a dude in like a leotard and like a headdress, and he's like, I am going to hunt you from the shadows. Like he's very, I don't know. Yeah, Scott says, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Craven the Hunter is a hunter. Yes, good point. We have guys on the ball in our chats tonight. You are on the pulse, sir, the very pulse of it. A couple more stories. We're gonna take a break and get ready for our guest. Actually, let's switch over to TV news. This one's kind of a bummer. For those of you guys that are fans of the Flash series on the CW, it has been announced that 2 of the original cast members are leaving the series. Aww. I need a button for like a sound effect. Aww. That's Radar doing his aw voice. So the Flash has been renewed for an 8th season, but it will be returning without 2 of its original cast members. Tom Cavanaugh, who played Harrison Wells and many variations of Harrison Wells, and Carlos Valdez. That sounds right. What is it? It's Valdez with an S. Who played Cisco Ramon, beloved characters, both been there since the original. They're both exiting the long-running Arrowverse series, which is currently soon to wrap up its 7th season. It's kind of a bummer. I'm sure it's one of those things where after so many seasons, you're kind of just like, I'm ready to move on to other things. You gotta figure there's 7 seasons in. That's a good point where you kind of like, you want to get out of a series because maybe it's on its last legs, maybe the best days are behind it, and you kind of want to go out on a high note. I don't know. What do you think is the right length of a show? Like, when is a show on for too long?
That depends. I think it depends on the show and the writers and the material.
Sure.
Like, if they can still make it good. Okay, this is where I think, like, Walking Dead went wrong. Okay? I think they started reaching too far. And I think that they also diluted themselves by having, like, Fear the Walking Dead. Like, they could have made that into, like, another storyline in the main show. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of diluted themselves and had their ideas, and they're too popular, and they kind of just, like, freaked out, right? Whereas other shows, like, we'll say, God, I hate fucking saying this, but, like, mindless shows, kind of like Friends, right? You could basically have Friends going for fucking ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can the way that show was, Seinfeld the same way. You know what I mean? You could have those kind of shows basically go on forever. You know,
could.
Eventually you run out of material, but I mean, you can keep evolving the characters, adding new characters, doing the things. Whereas, I don't know, I think it just kind of, there's no real, it's up to the writers, it's up to the cast, up to the crew, who they can kind of keep. You know, if you have a popular show with good actors and good writers, there's really no end to it, as long as you have, as long as you don't make it stale.
Yeah, I get you.
But certain shows, this is like the Walking Dead, for example, kind of had it's the same fucking show,
right?
Basically,
yeah,
or the same season.
But with them, there's so much turnover that I think that's part of what can keep it fresh, because there is so much turnover, there is so much new, and versus it's the same 6 people in the same scenario in the same situation.
But okay, each season of The Walking Dead was the same.
Yeah.
They moved, they found a spot, they got attacked, they had to leave. Every season was the same.
Pretty much.
It was the same plot. It was the same. You know, it might have had different characters. It might have had, you know, an evolution of people, and you were kind of like, oh no, Glenn's dead, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But eventually, just kind of like, oh well, whatever. You know. No,
well,
now this guy's got a fucking tiger. Why has he got a fucking tiger? It wasn't until later on realized how cool tigers could be. But
only if there's meth.
But I mean, like, if they could have had like a show like Friends, for example, like, okay, well, they're gonna have a baby, and now these guys are moving out, and these guys are doing this. You know what I mean? You can evolve the characters, the character arc, and make them do certain things.
And the characters can kind of age with you as well. Yeah, Chris in the chat says, a show too long, Grey's Anatomy. A show too short, mash. So okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Scott says 15 seasons. That's when the show's gone on too long. And also Scott, look at Supernatural after like 10 seasons. It was like the same thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also,
and like I said, like if you can keep it fresh, if they can keep it fresh, say something like The Mandalorian, right? You could keep going doing that basically forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Evolving the character and changing things up and all that. It just depends on how they want to do it.
Now that they're bringing Dexter back, I'm really curious, how is that going to, you know what I mean? Like, how is that going to connect? How is it going to be different but be the same? How are you going to please old, lovers of the show, new people that are passionate about the show? It definitely makes me curious for sure. What King Smith says, don't besmirch Grey's Anatomy. We got a lover. We got a lover out there. Chris says, who would win in a fight? One-on-one, Doctor Strange or Doctor Doom? I have a theory. It depends, because we know Doctor Doom doesn't play nice. He doesn't play fair. So I think the X variable is who has more time to prepare. I think, is it a fair fight? All things considered, right? Both combatants have an equal time to prepare. Both characters declare they're going to play fair. No, putting because I know Doctor Doom would endanger someone's life, so Doctor Strange has to cover, and then he would attack while the guy's distracted. Classic villain move. But if they're both going to fight fair, they both have the same amount of time to prepare, I think Doctor Strange wins it hands down. That's just where he's the Sorcerer Supreme. While Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom has a very good handle on the dark arts. I mean, it's the Sorcerer Supreme. There's a reason you get the title. The best of the best. So yeah, so that's a very quick answer to your question. One last thing before we go to break. Speaking of the Friends reunion, why do I still have that up there? Hey, there it is. Obviously, after many COVID-related delays, the Friends reunion finally hit HBO Max Thursday night. I don't suppose you caught it, did you?
No.
I didn't think you would. Just like asking.
Well, and I don't even have HBO Max or whatever.
Oh, so yeah, that would. I'll give you my logon. It's fine. But here's the thing. Apparently, almost as big of a hit, and this is going to sound kind of silly, as Wonder Woman 1984, as critically panned as that movie was, a shit ton of people, that was our first thing to watch ever after a long COVID hiatus, so a lot of people watched it. It's unfortunate that wasn't better, but a lot of people watched it. So a study was done that the Wonder Woman, when it released in the first 24 hours, 32% of streaming households with, the ability to stream something like this, 32% watched that movie in the first 24 hours. With this Friends reunion, 29% of the same US-based streaming households watched it. So that is a massive, this is a TV show reunion compared to, a big blockbuster movie, and they were practically identical. That's saying something. That's to the power of Friends, which has been off the air for what feels like 20 years, like a crazy long time, 17 years, whatever it is. The Wonder Woman movie had actually served as a benchmark for HBO's performance, because it was launched into such a desperate time. To show you the rival of that, 13% of streaming households watched Mortal Kombat when it was released on HBO Max. So yeah, whopping 29 for Friends and 13% for Mortal Kombat. In comparison to something that wasn't on HBO Max, 34% tuned in for WandaVision on its debut. So, and we haven't gotten the numbers yet for Falcon and Winter Soldier, but WandaVision got a 34%. That means more people watched WandaVision on its first day of release then watched Wonder Woman. So and the Friends reunion. So that's pretty. Chalk that one up for WandaVision, man. And the Marvel machine. They know what the hell they're doing. They know what the hell they're doing. Thoughts?
Speaking of that,
yeah,
it's June.
It is June.
You know what that means?
We've got
Loki's
Loki. We got Loki right around the corner. Yes, sir.
Well, like 2 weeks?
Something like that.
Week and a half?
Week and a half, yeah. Just about. Very excited. Very excited. Very, very, very excited. Yeah. Tell me. You don't know. As far as the Friends reunion, is it worth a watch? No. If you loved the show, it is absolutely worth a watch. Absolutely. If you enjoyed the show, it's absolutely worth a watch. If you didn't like Friends or you didn't see Friends, definitely not worth a watch. But for the if you have no friends, you can call me. We'll talk.
All right.
But yeah, no, it was good. It was good to see, you know, these guys remain tight and kind of fall into rhythms. It's such a cliche thing to say, but they were such good friends during the show, and obviously became kind of a surrogate family for each other. And it's funny to see not only their personalities, but almost like they slip back into character almost immediately being around each other, which is pretty cool. This was only the second time since the show went off air that all six were together in one place. So that's really something special. And I think one of them was just for like a dinner they did privately. But that all six have not been together in 17 plus years. So it's really cool to see that they got to do it, and it had a lot. I mean, a lot of people were involved. Lady Gaga was involved, and a bunch of models. They had guest stars. James Corden was hosting. Yeah, a lot of people involved. One person who wasn't involved, and he tweeted about it, was our good buddy Eddie McClintock, who was on this show a couple weeks ago, who played a character on Friends. He played Mike. No, not Mike. What was the guy's name? And the hospital bed that Phoebe flirted with for 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's like, he tweeted out basically like, I guess they overlooked my invitation. You know, they had the freaking identical hand twin, who was in like 5 minutes of one episode, and he made an appearance, but yet you couldn't bring in Eddie, who's in 2 episodes, and she could have been a love interest for Phoebe had he not been contractually obligated to be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is what it is. But anyway,
it is.
All right, guys. With that, we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we have a very special guest. He is from Forbes magazine. He's the senior contributor for all things games, TV, movies. He's Erik Kain. He's gonna be back after the break, and then after the interview, we're doing a live giveaway. So we'll be back very soon. Guys, stay tuned, and we'll see you at the break. Shots.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
You got me staring out the window. 8 hours later, you're a no-show. Where
Call the show now at 415-889-8367. Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. This is hour 2 of our lovely program. I'm super excited for tonight's guest. This is going to be a phenomenal conversation. My next guest, oh goodness gracious, I left Radar's, hang on a second, I left Radar's camera on. I got to turn that off. My bad. Oops. All right, sorry about that. Live shows are awesome. My next guest writes a widely read and respected blog about video games, entertainment, and pop culture at Forbes. He's a Shorty Award-nominated journalist and critic whose work has appeared in The Atlantic, The National Review, Mother Jones, True/Slant, and elsewhere. He's co-founded. Jesus, today's a day. He's co-founded the politically commentary blog, The League of Ordinary Gentlemen, whose members have gone on to write at multiple major publications, including the New York Times and Slate. He's a writer. He's a gamer. He's a father. He's a pop culture enthusiast. Everyone, please give a warm pop culture welcome to our guest, Erik Kain. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm super excited. I apologize for butchering the intro. It's one of those days, man. We're live. I'll cut it out in post, except, we're live. So much to cover, man. So much to cover. The first thing I always like to ask people right out the gate, we are a military-themed broadcast and veteran-centric, and audience members are mostly military and veteran. I always ask, what is your connection to the military community? Are you a veteran? Do you have family that served? Just friends, or just are a supporter of the military?
I don't have much of a connection to the military, honestly. I almost joined both the Marines and the Army when I was like 19, and both times I decided not to. I even went down to Phoenix to the Marine, spent the night down there, took the tests, did all of that, and then I chickened out. So I just I was in college and pretty aimless, and thought, well, this would be great. I'll go see the world, and I'll get some self-discipline, and I'll do all that. And then I got down there, and there was a curfew, and there was people yelling, and I was like, oh no, this is definitely not for me.
Nothing wrong with that.
In some ways, I regret it because I think it would have been a good experience. I mean, or it could have been a terrible experience. I don't know. No. Both my grandpas served and were over. They were a little too young to be in World War II, but they were over there afterwards. But it was never a big part of my family, honestly.
Sure.
In terms of I definitely I don't always support the wars and the different things that our government gets us into, but of course always support the troops. I just interviewed a guy that works with the Call of Duty Endowment about their support for veterans. Published that just a couple days ago. I've been covering 6 Days in Fallujah and all the controversy around that game.
Right.
And but yeah, I am not a veteran, and I know people who are, but it has not been a big part of my experience.
Sure. Nothing wrong with that at all. I just I always it's a question because a lot of people you have two grandfathers. I'm sure people who have served. You almost joined. So it's always really cool to, even for those that haven't served, that there's always some connection to the military. And hearing that, hey, I might not support the wars, but I support the troops. That's always a nice thing to hear. That's how a lot of us feel that went over there. I'd rather not, but I did what I got to do. Already we got people. Kaz in the chat says you're a Viking. You're not a veteran. You're a Viking. So I'm sure he means that in the nicest possible way. And guys, for those in the chats, if you have any questions for Erik, please shoot them to us, and I will we'll shoehorn them in as they fit. Okay, so just to give people a little bit of a background on you, I know you live in Flagstaff, Arizona. don't know if I'm breaking like a secret secret location or anything, but Flagstaff, Arizona. You live with you have your two kids and two dogs. Were you always did you grow up in the Arizona area or did you end up there?
I was born in Montana, so I was born in Bozeman, Montana. We moved around quite a bit. My dad was going to school, so I lived in Seattle. I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia, um, and we moved to Flagstaff in junior high when I was in junior high.
So,
So I've been here a long time. I lived briefly in Denver, Colorado for a bit, but pretty much since junior high, other than a couple of years, I've been here in Flag,
yeah,
which it's a mountain town. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's a college town, but it's not too small or too big. It's a nice place. There's tons of forest and tons of hiking. The Grand Canyon's like an hour away. So yeah, I like it here. I
nice.
mean, it's almost getting too big though, so I probably won't stay here forever. But it's a pretty good place for having kids and whatnot.
Nice. No, absolutely. I'm mostly an East Coast guy myself. I've lived in Austin and a couple different
Okay.
places, visited
My
around the
girlfriend's
world.
from Austin.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was in Arizona once, and I will say like I didn't understand like why do people talk about Arizona? Like there's nothing out there. It's a lot of flat area. There's just not much to do. I went once and I was like, wow, I get it. Okay, I totally get it. I get it. I was like there for like a week and a work thing and oh man, I heard like a lot of athletes will have their like main residence there. I guess it's like good. I don't know if it's good for training or just good climate for relaxing. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's a nice place, man.
Yeah. Where were you in Arizona? Were you
Oh
in
man,
Phoenix, that area? Or?
Phoenix, yes, Phoenix.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
exactly where it was. Yeah,
Yeah, so Phoenix and Flagstaff, it's like two different worlds because Phoenix is down it's down in the valley and I mean, right now it's probably 100 and something degrees there right now. And we're up, Flagstaff's at 7,500 feet.
oh
So
wow.
we're way up. We get snow. Some years we're in the top 10 snowiest cities in the U.S.
Oh
actually.
shit.
So it's crazy. I don't know. Arizona is just like from one end to the next it's
Yeah,
so
it's
radically different, which is kind of cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like you two live on two hemispheres of the same
Hmm.
state, you know?
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Um, I read somewhere that you've been playing video games since practically the dawn of video games, right? Cutting your teeth on Missile Command and
Whoa.
Asteroid.
Yeah, I mean, I played video games with like Load Runner and Missile Command and those, when they were like green and black screens, like at my dad's work. And then we had Max, so they didn't have as many games, but there were some good ones back then, like the old Might and Magic games before they were strategy games. Yeah, we had an NES. That was my first console, and my parents actually told me that I was never allowed to have a video game console. I would never get a Nintendo, and I was so upset. And then they got me one for my birthday, and there's video footage of me opening it, and I was so shocked that I burst into tears. I was like 10 years old. I just burst into tears. I was just overwhelmed. So I guess I definitely had a love of video games for a long time.
Right.
But yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I've had a lot of different systems over the years. I definitely, and now of course there's so many different ways, so many different systems, and so many different games. Even though I do this for a living, it's just impossible to keep up with all of it. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it definitely feel I was the kind of gamer for a long time that it was like, okay, I had all the consoles. And like I felt like you could do that for a while. There was a certain subset of years where like, okay, you could have a GameCube and an Xbox and a PlayStation. It wasn't a big deal. And then somewhere in was like the PS3, PS4 transition and the 360 and the Xbox One transition where it's like it's too much.
Hmm.
There's just a deluge of games coming out every day. It felt like, and yeah, you had to commit. I felt forced to join a side. Did you feel forced in any way? Have you ever been in the middle on one side or the other where you fall?
Sometimes I joke around about, the PC master race and the console peasants and all that, right?
Right.
Because, PC is still my love. But, I don't know. Like, Sony has a lot of great exclusives.
Hmm.
Xbox does a lot of things right with their infrastructure and their online. And I love the first Halo game was kind of a life changing experience for me. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Nintendo, of course, they got all kinds of great stuff. So, I don't know how many days I wasted on Mario Kart 8, for instance, and just all the Mario Karts, really. So I love them all. The only thing I really don't get into is the mobile gaming, honestly. There's a few that I've enjoyed, but it's like, why would I play? Why would I spend my time on mobile games when I've got all these? I've got a PS5 and an Xbox Series X and this ridiculously expensive gaming PC, and like, what? I don't know. It's just, uh, yeah. So I don't really take sides. I like sometimes I like poking that bear a little and writing some articles that like why Xbox is better or why PlayStation is better, because people get really mad about that. It's kind
Sure.
of funny.
Yeah, it's
They're all great.
yeah, no, I think back to like wrestling in the sense that they go, the bad guy wants to draw a reaction, right? That you got over on the audience, when you get that pop. So it's like you're antagonizing, trying to not say clickbait, right? That's a bad word, but more engage. You want to capture their attention, right?
Be provocative, right?
There you go.
I think there's a difference between that and clickbait, because clickbait implies that you're writing a headline that doesn't deliver on the article itself, right?
Right.
So the headline's provocative, but then the article is empty. I think you can write a provocative title and have the substance in the article too.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what when I do write something like that, and then people get mad, it's like, well, I did follow through with the headline. And
I let off with it. Yeah.
uh,
Sorry, from Elijah Scott in the comments. What's your favorite? I'm guessing they mean favorite like all time game, or how about this? Favorite all time, favorite current game.
Okay. I would probably have to say that my favorite all-time game is Dark Souls. Because that game, I think that game in a lot of ways kind of, I think there was a period of time when my kids were very young where I didn't really play many video games for sort of obvious reasons. There was kind of this lull in, prior to my children being born, I was playing a lot of Counter-Strike and a lot of Team Fortress 2 and that kind of game. Then I took some time off, and then when I came back, I think Dark Souls is what really got me back into gaming. And actually, I got a vasectomy, and I had to be in bed for like 3 days, and I played Dark Souls the whole time. It was it was just such a great experience. And so then Dark Souls, all the games that From Software made, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, all those have kind of a special place for me. I haven't been playing those a lot lately. Lately, man, I've just been playing lots and lots of Black Ops Cold War. I got like some friends that we haven't seen each other much because they either live in different places or it's been COVID, and so we've been playing that as a squad, and it's just been really fun to have that sort of social gaming. So
Yeah.
I've just been playing that a lot.
Yeah. No.
I don't know
No.
if it's my favorite game, but it's my go-to right now.
I couldn't agree more, man. I got away from like Call of Duty. I think it was what Modern Warfare 2, and that was his. And then it was just too. And then it went in the future, and it was just too much. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm getting old or like that's just too much for me. And but with COVID hitting the way it did, and feeling disconnected from people, I know I joined up. Like I saw my buddies playing Call of Duty, the new Modern Warfare, and I was like, I don't really like playing those games anymore. But then you hop in and you start talking trash, and you start screaming on the mics, and it was such a nice way. I think if anything, COVID gave us people could realize things like video gaming and bonding online and all these things have a real place in society. I'm curious your thoughts on that. How do you think COVID has impacted, maybe positively and negatively, video gaming and how we connect with each other?
I think in the gaming space, it's been mostly pretty positive. Unlike a lot of other, a lot of other industries and a lot of other communities. Like, just imagine if this had happened, before the internet, before online gaming, it would have been way shittier, right? Like,
Murder in the streets.
yeah,
The
it
Purge.
would have been so horrible. Yeah, the Purge. So yeah, I think, well, personally, like, it did, it didn't happen right away that I sort of connected with my friend group this way during COVID, but when it did happen, it was great. I had another group that were trying to play D&D and stuff online, and that just didn't ever really click with me the same way the video games did. It's just, I don't know, there's something about D&D or tabletop games that you need to have the tabletop. I know
Yeah.
people do play them online. For me, it was like something really fundamental was missing in that kind of human interaction. But with games, with Call of Duty or Fortnite or Apex Legends or any of these games, I don't know, there's just something, it's so easy to just get online, you can chat, you can joke around, talk trash, laugh, just be goofy, and we're far from like the best players out there, but I like the competition also, there's something about that just really visceral, just getting in there and, you have your wins and losses and, I don't know, I think overall, I think games have been really a positive thing for a lot of people though.
Sure.
Because, I mean, now everything's kind of going back to normal, at least in the States, at least around here. And you can just tell people are just itching to get back out into the world. And it's wonderful to see it and to go places like go to the gym again and not have to wear a mask. But with games, it didn't really, I mean, other than game development, it didn't really stop anything.
Yeah.
If anything, like I think gaming had one of its maybe its biggest year ever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was saying the same thing that, there's a silver lining in every dark cloud and I think gaming and, streaming,
Yeah.
both game streaming and streaming in the sense of like, Disney Plus, HBO Max, like probably had their the Amazon Prime and Hulu and all that have blockbuster things because that's the only way we can get content when we're all stuck at home. So,
well, Netflix, grabbed some big
yeah.
big movies that were gonna go to theaters, and then Army of the Dead just recently, and Enola Holmes, and a lot of these movies that would have normally gone to theaters, watch them here, and that's kind of nice. Another nice thing for me, one of the nice things also was game preview events. Like before, you'd have to fly out to New York or LA or somewhere and go to these gaming events, and those can be fun, but it's expensive, it's time consuming, and it's like, I don't know, it's weird to go, have Activision go to a hotel wherever Activision at the hotel. There's all these game journalists and influencers there, and they feed you, and there's drinks, and there's all that stuff, so that you can play the game. It's like, well, why don't I just play the game at home?
Send it to me.
Just stream the game. Yeah, I send it to me. Or now, I've been able to do all these previews where we just get online and I can demo a game remotely, and it takes an hour instead of a weekend. And so that's there are a lot of silver linings.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a good point. Okay, I mean, we kind of jumped ahead in the story, but when did you talked about you were a gamer going back before gamer was a term, really. When did you discover you had a passion for writing about it, reviewing it, and just sharing your thoughts on it?
Well, I was blogging before I wrote for Forbes. You mentioned this earlier in the intro. I founded a blog called The League of Ordinary Gentlemen. It was like a politics blog. We had a bunch of different writers. Some of them just for fun, some sort of starting their writing career. I then I'd written an article about this website, True Slant, and it was kind of a critical article, but then they asked if I wanted to write for them. So this was my first real regular paid gig, and then they were purchased by Forbes. The guy that started it was an ex-Forbes guy, and he sort of sold them his infrastructure, the sort of the way that True Slant was built, and that's what they built the new modern Forbes off of. So then some of us got our contracts moved over to Forbes, and so I went over there and I was writing about the war on drugs and more like political stuff. And then I sort of just thought, this is not really what I want to write about it anymore. And I talked to my producer there and I said, let me be like tech or video games. And they were like, yeah, video games. That's great. Do that. And so I started writing about video games. It just sort of one thing led to another, a lot of good luck and just sort of deciding that's what I wanted to do and having someone say, yeah, do that. And so then that was, 2012, early 2012 that I started writing about video games, which was right when Mass Effect 3 came out, and that sort of exploded, and that whole Mass Effect movement happened, the retake Mass Effect movement, and so that kind of is what launched my whole game writing. Because I came to it with kind of a political writing background rather than just strictly game writing, and that was kind of interesting. But basically, that was great because then I was able to play more video games also.
Yeah.
Really, because it's like you grow up and you have all this, you have your professional life and your kids and your family, and it's like, well, if you can blend the things you love with your professional life and everything else, now I play Call of Duty with my kids, and it's you just mix it all together. It's great.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I've said this many times. I've talked to young family members, or I've done school talks and things like that. And I always say like the pinnacle of a life is when you can find what you love, find your passion, and then get paid well enough to do it,
Yeah.
to support yourself. And obviously, if you're lucky, like actor, you big role and you get paid ridiculously well to do it, then awesome. But no, if you can just find what you love and get paid enough to survive doing it, like you've lived a good life. Like that's just awesome. And I know you don't just write, you write, you podcast, you YouTube video, you stream on Twitch, like you're everywhere, man. What made like you decide like I gotta put myself out there. I gotta get the name out, the brand out.
Um, well, I have, I was doing YouTube for a while, then I kind of just focused on the Forbes stuff, and now I'm kind of reviving my YouTube presence, starting a new podcast. I am gonna start streaming more. It's a lot, right? All of these things are super time consuming. And so, for a while, I felt like I should really focus on one, just do that well. But now I'm like, no, you really have to do a lot. Like you have to have a YouTube. Like I don't know. Ever since 2014, I'd say that game journalism has been on the decline and YouTube has been on the rise.
Hmm.
And I feel like I sort of probably should have done more of that years ago, seeing where YouTube has gone. But yeah, so I want to do more of that. I started a Substack so I could kind of branch out beyond video games because I'm pretty locked into sort of a certain like entertainment and video games, pretty narrow focus at Forbes, and they don't really like it when I talk about political stuff because usually for whatever reason I don't feel like a very controversial person, but I guess I am. I have controversial notions. So YouTube and Substack and those areas are where I can kind of branch out of video games and out of entertainment a little bit and talk about the culture, our really deeply fucked up culture that we have. And yeah, so but I love I think it's fun to sort of link it all together because there's no our pop culture and our entertainment and our video games and our politics and our society and religion and philosophy and history, all those things are really wound together. You can't really you can separate them, but you shouldn't, right? It's a more of a holistic thing, experience that we all have. So I'm just trying to kind of figure out how to do that, how to talk about video games, how to talk about politics, how to talk about pop culture and history and philosophy and language and all those things
Sure.
all at once.
Yeah.
And I think taking that the video side, the streaming side, the written side, and bringing those all together. No, that's the project. That's the goal. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. No, that's it. I mean, I think you hit it right on the head too. It's taking one from the rest. It's like I'm gonna paint this painting, but I'm not gonna use blue, and it's just like it's part of the tapestry. It's part of everything. If you remove one thing of it, it just kind of doesn't look right. You know what I mean? I mean, depending what the picture is, but no, that's cool, man. That's cool. And I checked out your Twitch. I checked out some of the streams you had going on, some of the Call of Duty stuff, and I really dug the fact that you play with your kids, man. That's such a cool. I mean, as a person who's been playing all your life, what is that experience like being able to say like, hey, youngins, like come in here, let's do this together. What's been that experience?
It's really cool. My son, well, my daughter turns 14 this summer, and my son turns 11, so they're getting really old. My daughter has, she's liked games like Mario Kart and things like that until this last year when she started really getting into Call of Duty, which was super surprising to me. Like, okay, that's the game. The other day I walked into the living room and she's on the PlayStation just playing Call of Duty by herself, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's fun. My son is just when he was in preschool, we sent him to a Lutheran preschool, and I came in one day and there was all these little Post-its on the wall that were like what their kids are thankful for. So like 90% of them are I'm thankful for mom and dad, I'm thankful for my grandparents. My son's was I'm thankful for video games. And this is when he's like 4 or 5 years old, right? So he is just so, and he's better at them a lot of the time than I am now, and he's just not even 11 yet, so he's going far, I think. But the experience, it's great. Like it's a lot of fun to squad up in Fortnite, or Call of Duty, or just uh, racing games or whatever we end up doing. I know we did the new Battletoads for a while, which was kind of fun. I told them war stories of playing the original Battletoads and what a deeply messed up game that was.
Oh God.
The new one's a lot easier, although it's still pretty hard. But yeah, it's super fun. They want to stream more. We haven't really gotten it. I've been working on getting this office set up out here in my backyard, and so now we have like more because just I was working at the kitchen table for a long time this last year because I got rid of my other office, and so getting the setup for streaming, getting the setup for all that has been kind of a challenge, but we're getting there, and I think they're really excited to do that aspect of it. We did a little Call of Duty stream the other day when I didn't announce it because it was just a test stream, and they're like, how many viewers do we have? And they're super excited, and I'm like, we have 0 viewers. We have no viewers at all. Nobody knows we're doing this, but I think it's fun. It's games in general. We love playing like card games and poker and rummies and things like that. So games are
Yeah, it's a part of the culture. Yeah,
yeah.
It's the bread and butter.
I grew up on card games and things like that with my family, and now my family's grown up on video games, and yeah.
Did you ever get into the trading card games? The Pokemon, the Magic, the Yu-Gi-Oh, anything like that?
When I liked Magic, I had no money to buy Magic cards, so I had like a few decks, and so not really. By the time I had any money, that was sort of not in my wheelhouse anymore. My brother got more into my younger brother. He did a lot more Magic, and he tried to get into the Warhammer stuff too, the Warhammer minis game. But again, that was like a huge investment when you have no money to buy anything with. So
yeah.
But I did enjoy Magic with the little bit I played, and I liked Hearthstone when that came out. That was a pretty fun like digital card game.
Yeah.
But it's like those are pretty expensive too. I remember my colleague at Forbes, Paul Tassi, he wrote a post once about how he'd spent like $650 on Hearthstone or something. I'm like, okay, no, it's not for me.
Yeah, it's I just because of COVID, I'm stuck in the house, got some teenagers here, and I'm like, I saw them like reading or looking at online. You know how they watch videos, YouTube videos, and they were watching YouTube videos on Yu-Gi-Oh expensive cards, and I was like, man, you youngins, like back in my day, we played Magic the Gathering, and they were like, what's that, old man? And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to school you guys, and so we ordered a couple of decks online, and next thing you know, we start playing, and everybody's getting super into it, and then like $1,000 later, I'm like, I've got I've got mats and dice and things and life counters, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I slipped right back into it. But yeah. Oh, now I will say you should check it out. They have the Magic the Gathering online game, so it's just the card game but virtual, and you don't have to spend money, which I think is the greatest thing. And one of the biggest arguments is always like, you can't do that. That's against the rule because it says you can't attack or defend when the guy's got flat. And like you get into all these arguments that there's no one there to settle. Well, the virtual game, like it has all the rules. Like it doesn't let you do illegal things. So yeah, that's that. We've used the online game to referee things in real life. Like, okay, let's take it to the game. Let's try it out. Elijah says Yu-Gi-Oh is the GOAT. Change my mind. There you go. Well, there you go. Also, the question was, and I usually do this at the end so that you can plug your stuff, but the question came out: where can people find you on Twitch, on YouTube, and all those things?
Yeah, at YouTube, I guess if you just search my name in YouTube, but it's like YouTube/C/Erik Kain, I think is the URL. And it's been the last couple of weeks that I've kind of relaunched my YouTube channel. My Substack it's just like my newsletter. It's mostly free. I have some premium content, and you can subscribe for free, or people who it's kind of like a Patreon in a way, because people can also subscribe and spend money. But it's diabolical.substack.com. and this whole diabolical branding thing that I've been doing. And then, of course, Forbes, Forbes.com/site/Erik Kain, and then Twitter.com/Erik Kain. It's all just really under my name except for the Substack. So yeah, and then Twitch. I think it's
Dog Face Boy.
Dog Face Boy.
With two G's.
I think yeah, with two G's. That's been my gamer tag since like Steam first came out. That's where I made that. I don't know even why I picked that, right? So that's like, I don't know, when Steam came out, that's like when Half-Life 2 came out, right? And that's when I built my first PC, and so I just came up with that, and I've had, that's my gamer tag on everything. And now there's this damn term dog water that's come out of nowhere, and everyone's like, oh, dog water. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. Fuck you too. Like, where did that come from? I had Dog Face Boy before dog water was the thing, I'm pretty sure.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, Dog Face Boy on Twitch. That answers Elijah's question, which is very cool to see you. Like I said, you got some great clips out there. I know you do lives, and it's all about grinding it out and building the community. And it's a, trust me, this show, I mean, the station's been around for a while, but this show is a year and 3 months old. So it's a daily process. I feel you trying to manage the multimedia and the social media, and it's a full-time gig, man. At least you get paid for some of it.
It's a big difference. Yeah, getting paid does help. That's a very nice perk of the whole thing. Although, yeah, we'll see if I get paid for all. I've been doing so much that I'm not getting paid for right now, so that's always exciting. The difference, between written word and video, or written word and podcasting, written word and conversations is so huge also. So that's a real, almost a shock to the system, going from, when you're writing an article or you're writing a blog post or something, it's very internal, and you're just kind of in your own head, and you don't care what you look like or sound like or anything. But when you get on video, it's like this whole new way of being completely, and that's a real challenge. I mean, it's a fun challenge, but it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
But you gotta challenge ourselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say, I dig the background. Can you give me a little bit? I need some information. I need to know these artwork, what you got hanging back there. Tell me.
Yeah. This one up here with the skull, and this is called Honor. And I can't think of the artist's name off the top of my head, but I found this, and then I used the digital image of it on my some of my, like, on my Twitter and whatnot, and I just liked it so much that I went ahead and bought this print, which is kind of expensive, but I like it a lot. And it's actually covering a stained glass window, and I really like the stained glass window. It just lets in so much light.
Sure.
I thought I'll put this there. This one here is, of course, Link and Zelda. My girlfriend got this for me for Christmas years ago, and it's a painting by a local Native American artist. Wow. So it's a print of that, which is really cool. She found it downtown at this little shop, so it's a local thing, and I just love it. Then I've got the Conan sword back there, which is a real battle-ready sword. It's not like the really expensive Albion sword, which is like $4,000 or something, but it's heavy and sharp. And then I don't know if this one's. I've got this one too. This is like a custom forged war sword.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. I like swords. I don't know. All my life as a kid, I wanted a sword, and I could never get one. No one would buy me one, and I couldn't afford one. So then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy some swords.
I dig it, man.
I've got a few more, but I don't have them up. We're going to put a couple inside the house just as decoration / home defense. Because, you've got the samurai sword there on the wall, and you need it,
Sure.
It never hurts.
Yeah. You never got to reload a sword, that's for sure.
Right, you never do. You never know. You just never do. You don't keep it a gun safe either, so that's nice.
That's right. No, you don't get was a license to carry. No, I get you so much. I remember, like, one of the first things when I was like out of high school and I was on my own, it's like I bought some swords, and I was just like, cause you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna have some swords. I'm such a badass. Then you're like, oh god, what am I doing? But no, I obviously my home defense. I have Captain America's shield. I've got Got Thor's hammer back there. So I mean, really, I'm set. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need any of that. The mortal weapons.
It'd be a good headline, like man fights off burglar with Captain America's shield and Thor's
Yeah.
hammer.
And actually, that's not even okay. So true story. That's not one of like the Marvel series props. That was made by a metal workshop. That is machine grade aluminum, qualified to stop a 22 caliber slug. Anything higher than that, you're gonna take a bullet. you're gonna get, because otherwise it'd be way too heavy. But it's
Right,
you know, they built it to the movie specs, and it's got the straps on the inside and everything. So I'm ready to go. I can do some things. But it's funny. So right now, I'm interested. We've learned about you, learned some of the things that make you tick. As far as I consider you an expert. You are a subject matter expert in the world of video games, TV, movies. What's the pulse? What's your read on where we are in current video games, movies, TV? Are we in a good period, right? Are we gonna look back and go like, oh, this was the golden age of TV? And are we maybe on when we're in the peaks and valleys, right? Are we in a valley? Or we gotta dig ourselves out.
It's so interesting to even nowadays there's so much going on that it's sort of hard to even make an assessment, right? Because it's so much easier to look back a couple decades and say, oh, look what was being made then. This was quality. I think that we're in a time where, like, in the indie game scene, there's tons and tons of really good stuff being made to the point where it's almost impossible to follow it. I remember just even a few years ago when a cool new indie game would come out, like that would be something I would hear about, I would know about ahead of time. Now they come at you like so fast. They're all around. You can barely keep up. I think people will look back on the games that are being made now and think, there's a lot of really good stuff being made. There's a lot of just sort of cash grabs and garbage also. And I guess that's probably always true. Same with movies and TV. I mean, in movies, you've got a lot of remakes going on, right? There's just a lot of, it seems like there's a sort of a dearth of actual original ideas. But then you also have some really quality stuff being made. Like we just went and saw A Quiet Place 2. And I thought I thought the original was really great. And I really liked the sequel also. I think those are both fantastic movies. TV, people talk about the golden age of TV, which, maybe we're on the other side of that. It's hard to say, but I mean, the advent of like long form television with shows like The Sopranos, continuing on through Breaking Bad and into, nowadays there's lots of great comedies being made. It's just a matter of like almost overload though. There's so much. And I think there is a focus in both movies and TV and video games on spending a bunch of money to make something, to find that next Game of Thrones or whatever, right? Or find that next big hit. I mean, I think Amazon's spending like $500 million on the Lord of the Rings show that they're making.
Right.
And that's an insane amount of money, right? That's just so much money. Netflix keeps trying to get its own big fantasy blockbuster series. And in video games, like these games are getting more and more and more expensive, these AAA games. So you wonder, how sustainable that is and how sustainable any of these industries are. But at the same time, like it shows no sign of slowing down. So it's hard to really make a perfect assessment of what people are going to look back and see, because there's always good with the bad. But I actually was talking with I often talk with my a colleague at Forbes, Ollie Barter, who often is waving the warning flag about the game industry just spending way more than it can possibly make back on these huge projects. So only a few can survive that. And so, I don't know. We'll see. Is there going to be a crash? I don't know.
Yeah.
They're still making a bunch of money. So
it's crazy to me. I read these articles and they talk about like, the game or the movie, whatever's made $800 million. And you're like, wow, that's so much. And like at a $200 million loss, you're like, wait, what? Like this, how do you stay in business? You know, when you have a game like Cyberpunk that was
Yeah.
in development for so long, and as I mean, we all wanted it to be good. It's not like we were chomping at the bit to tear it down. I know
Right.
me and so many wanted so much from it. I- Is it like even if it would have just been not buggy, even if it wouldn't have been a great game, just not not broken, like I think it'd have been all right. But
Yeah.
just to release like that, wow, man, it just how do you stay in business? How does it,
It's good. That was such a huge disaster too, because CD Projekt Red had such, so many people had so much faith in them,
yeah.
and then it was such a. I mean, I think part of it just the PS4, especially the PS4 release, was so bad.
Mm.
But really, the whole thing, I don't know. It wasn't ready, but it's been in development for so long, and at a certain point, you do have to just sort of release the game, or you're spending way too much. But I think they probably should have just focused on next gen and
Yeah.
not done the PS4, Xbox One releases at all, or maybe just released on PC and Stadia or something, and then push the other stuff back. But yeah. I mean, yeah, hype, and then these budgets are. And, the thing about the video game industry in particular is they don't really talk about how much they're spending,
Mm.
or how much they're making even. Like it's a lot of it's very opaque, right? Whereas in the movie business, you've got the box office to look at, and they release their budgets. It's you can look at how much a movie cost, and then you can look at how much it made, and you can say, okay, this made money, this lost money. With video games, much harder to tell.
Yeah.
They do not release all that information publicly. They obscure a lot of that, and there was a time when Activision would report the Call of Duty sales, but now they report much vaguer things like it sold more than any other Call of Duty, but they don't tell you how much.
Right.
They don't tell you how much it costs.
Yeah.
So okay, like it's all. The video game industry in general is just this black hole of information.
Mm.
If you're talking to somebody in the movie business or in TV, like they'll just let you talk to an actor or a director, just you, one on one on the phone, whatever. If you talk to somebody in video games, that's not like an independent video game. You've got like four PR people in the room. Like they are having to check with their PR people all the time if they can say something. It's
Yep.
it's just so different. It's really kind of a frightening environment. A lot of ways. It's games too. It should be more fun, but it's really locked
Yeah,
down.
it's almost mafioso in that kind of way of like behind closed doors and backroom deals and things like that. Yeah, for sure. Let me ask you this. We've been lucky. We've had some actors on, we've had some directors on. We had the team behind 6 Days in Fallujah. We had them on. And so, I've been talking to a lot of people and I said, this whole last year, this whole COVID time, a lot of work had to stop for a long period of time. We know productions got pushed back and movies got pushed back, TV shows, everything got hit. Kind of like an extended writer's strike almost. I'm curious, your thoughts. Does this lead, and again, kind of that term, the golden age of TV or whatever, does the time away from a project or projects or this time downtime to be more creative or imaginative, does that usher in this golden age of like all these amazing new shows and amazing new games because people had time to sit and think. They weren't working on the deadline, working on the next episode, working on the next thing. They had time to think about it. Or on the flip side of that, was this so distracting that like you can't focus, you can't be creative because it's just like, oh my god, the world's ending and I don't know my next paycheck or whatnot. So where do you see the next 6 months, year, 2 years post COVID?
That's a good question. I suppose it really probably depends from project to project and creator to creator and company to company, how they handled it. Did they keep their people working? Were people still working on these projects, or were people laid off, or were people forming new companies? And I suppose a lot of different things happened, right? I think that on the one hand, I think it more broadly, like the new ability for people to work from home and to network from home, I think that's going to open some interesting new doors, right? Like the whole notion of an office has really changed. For me, it didn't change. I already work from home.
Right.
I already worked remotely. I've been doing that for close to a decade already. So for me, no big deal. But a lot of other people hadn't been, and now for the last year they have been. And in some of these jobs, that actually is probably way more efficient and comfortable and just pleasant all around. It's probably an improvement in quality of life. For other things, where in-person collaboration is important, it's probably been really tough.
Mm.
So hopefully, like for storytellers and writers and artists, there was some more time to be creative. I know it's probably been tougher for for those industries where they have to come together and they have to, like filming, like you have to film scenes together. I know talking with people that even like in video games with motion capture and voice acting, like that's not always easily done remotely. Voice acting easier than motion capture, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. That's a big question. I don't know if I have a perfect answer for that, but I think it'll be interesting to see it play out.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting.
I eagerly await the article on projecting the next 6 months, the next year for pop culture and entertainment. I'm going to eagerly be awaiting. You've done wow, we're running short on time too, man. This has been such a great conversation. I'm having so much fun with this. I can only assume as a professional in the space, you've done a lot of the conventions. You've done a lot of the E3s, the Comic Cons, things like that. Is there one particular that like you really do love going to for any specific reason?
I have not done a lot of them.
Really?
That I don't like them very much. So there's a couple things about that. Like, okay, so I am a long-term freelancer at Forbes, essentially, right? I've been there for 10 years, but I am still a senior contributor. I'm a contributor. They pay me, but I'm not exclusive to them, and they don't pay for me to go places.
Mm.
So, but they do still enforce an ethics policy where you can't have other people pay for you either. So, if there's a gaming event somewhere, they're not going to pay for me to go, and neither is any sort. I've been invited to Sherwood Forest and like to all these crazy places, but I can't accept. That goes against the ethics policies that we have, and that's great. I'd rather be ethical than go to these exotic locations. Although part of me would rather go to the exotic locations. So occasionally I will fork out my own money and I'll go. I've been to GDC and E3 and some other stuff, but it's almost never really worth it from for what I have historically done. So a lot of these events are really easy to cover remotely. Everything's live streamed. You can talk with people. You can do a lot of what you can do on the floor easier from home, actually, because like at E3 it was just a madhouse. Like it's just so. Ever since they started letting in people like the normal people and not just
general public is
the general public, the peasants.
The peasants.
It's a fucking nightmare, honestly. It's just so crowded, and I get a little claustrophobic, and I'm just like, I don't know, like, but I did enjoy GDC. That was a pretty cool one. I like San Francisco. It's a fun city. A little sketchy. A lot of sketchy people there, but very vibrant. And I went to some fun events when I was there. I saw probably the highlight for the time I went to GDC was the announcement of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh.
Because before that game was revealed, Hideo Kojima had done this whole stunt with this guy in bandages, and they called it Moby Dick Studios, and there was all this stuff going on about this game, and then he came out in person and like took the bandages out of his face, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's Kojima and it's Metal Gear Solid." And that was fun. There's fun things like that, but I always found those events sort of decadent, sort of like this cultural decadence where all these journalists show up and then the publishers like throw these lavish parties and you have all these fancy food and free drinks and they bring a lot of beautiful women around. You don't know what they actually do, but they're clearly there for all the to influence people in a certain way.
Sure.
And I just found the whole the culture around all of that very distracting in a way that kind of is designed to be distracting and designed to be decadent. And I have nothing against decadence, but in terms of like, if you want to be a journalist and you want to actually cover video games, you probably shouldn't let people influence you in those ways. So to me, I don't know. There's certainly it's fun to go and demo games. It's fun to go and be around people who make games. And I've really enjoyed every time I've been able to sit down and play a game and talk with the creator of these games. That's really fun. And so I do enjoy that. And I wish there was, I'd like to do more of that in the future too. I'm certainly not writing off like all of these events, but yeah, I don't know. It's a cost benefit analysis for me.
Sure.
So.
That makes perfect sense. If you're not, especially if you're not covered to go to those events, especially. Yeah, it's funny you should bring that up too, because like it does feel that the game conferences and the entertainment conferences, the electronics conferences, it's almost, to me, it's like the Super Bowl, in that it's become less about the sport and more about the spectacle, right? Like it's become, Comic-Cons, you go back 10, 20 years, they were about comics, they were about, a couple local, old Star Trek celebrities and things like that, versus now where it's this, like you said, it's like the Stark Expo in Iron Man, where there's just explosions and special effects and lazy, they're gonna start bringing back, dead game developers and the laser holograms to announce new games, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, no, that's I will say, in my experiences, and I've done a lot of conventions, and did E3. I've learned that it's less about the conference. It's become, the conference is for the consumer. It's those, like you said, it's those meetings behind closed doors. It's those lavish parties. It's those networking events that surround the conference. That's where the business is done. That's where the handshake deals happen. But the conventions themselves has now just become about selling, about making money. Versus what it used to be about, which is, announcing the public, hey, this is coming out, that's happening, whatever. All right, man. Wow, it's been an hour. The time flew by. Erik, this has been a phenomenal conversation. This has been so much fun, man. I thank you so much for coming on. One last time, for people that might just be tuning in, where can people find you? Here's your 1 minute to promote anything you'd like. Let the people know where they can find you and support you, and floor is yours.
Yeah, well, mostly if you just search my name, Erik Kain, you'll find me here and there. I'm at Forbes, so Forbes.com/site/Erik Kain. I'm on YouTube, same thing, youtube.com/C/Erik Kain. I've started a Substack recently, which is my newsletter, where I write about like everything from like politics to the culture wars and video games and movies. That's diabolical.substack.com. And yeah, I'm on Twitter, Facebook. Just search me and you'll find me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You were a phenomenal guest. You are a forever friend of the show, man. Anytime you want to come on and promote something, or just we'll talk about, I don't know, some TV or movies, man. We didn't even get to talk about like what we feel, what we're liking, what we're seeing, what we're thinking. So we'll definitely have to have you on again and have that conversation. So once again, everybody, Erik Kain, senior contributor at Forbes, and so much more, as we've learned. Check him out. And guys, we will be back after this short break. See you after the break.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio. To the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. I can assume, first let me turn off my air conditioner. You know, it's hot in here in the break. I can only assume if you are still out there and you are still watching and you're still listening, the only reason why possibly you would be doing so is because you, my friend, are looking to find out who won the mystery prize. Radar, you with us, buddy?
I'm here, buddy.
Here he is. Here he is.
Yes, sir.
I know that's why you're hanging around, right? That's why you want to find out who won. Who's the winner? First, all right, I'm like yelling right into the mic. I apologize, blowing out people's eardrums and shit. First, let me say that was an awesome guest, man.
Yes,
Eric,
very much so.
Eric was really cool, dude. It's fun to learn more. You know, again, you know, I learn things. That's why I love bringing on different types of folks all around the sphere of pop culture and entertainment. You know, it's nice to get the actors and directors, of course, right? People we've seen, we know. But when we get, you know, the music composer, the writer, the guy the beat writer on the subject, you know, the you know, the stunt men, like that's when you really start to get to learn the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff you don't see every day. And yeah, I learn stuff every day, and I feel like my pop culture knowledge grows, my toolkit gets bigger. I got to strut my stuff a little bit more.
Well, I think with that too, like, I mean, because like, look at me, for example. I'm never gonna be in front of a camera, except for like this little webcam thing. You know, it's like that's the most. I got the face of radio. You know what I mean? So when you hear people talk about like how they get into like costume design and like all like the back of the house kind of stuff, you kind of give someone like me a little bit of hope. Like maybe I could do that someday.
Yeah,
I mean, I know I'm
that.
not going to be able to, but I just be like, dude, just make it fucking good. They're just going to have me in like a focus group. I'm like, just make it good. They'll be like, fuck, this
guy's useless. He gives us nothing. Just make it good, man. It's
Yeah,
pretty easy. It's an easy job. Just make it good.
Yeah. Just especially if I can smoke weed at that job, like, dude, just make it, man.
One of these days, we gotta like shoot a skit where it's like inside the executive studio's office, and it's like they're like, well, who's got an idea? Just make it good. Like, what do you think? What do you think about the next? Should we green light the Star Wars 12? Yeah, just make it good. Just make it good. We'll make money.
I don't like you making bullshit. Just make it good this time. For fuck's sake.
All right, guys. We've delayed this gratification long enough. I'm literally getting messages of people going, "Who won? Who the fuck won?"
I want to just chill out. Just hold on one.
Hold on a second. All right.
Yeah, man.
So, at the final head count, the number of people who followed the instructions clearly, they liked the page, they liked the post, they shared the post. We got 36 entrants into this thing. I'm gonna pull this up now. Beep. There it goes. Here is. I'm gonna reload this bad boy. Yeah, second to reload this page. So this is a web page. Obviously, it's the lovely wheelofnames.com. Excellent. You can see we got 36 entrants. Here's the name of all the participants. So there's not hiding any. There's no duplicates, no doubles. I'm gonna shuffle. I'm gonna shuffle the names so they're not in alphabetical order. Give it a couple shuffles, like a good deck of cards. You got to shuffle a bit. Now I will say, before I spin this wheel, thank you for everybody for participating and helping us grow, because obviously you sharing this helps more people see it and helps us grow and helps us reach a larger audience. So thank you for those that participated. This is my thank you to you guys doing something like this. So you are rewarded for being as awesome as you guys are. Lastly, I will say, because I mentioned the Patreon earlier, one of the one of the benefits, I guess is the word, for being a patron of the show, no matter the tier, is moving forward. Anytime we do a contest, you're automatically entered. If you are a paying patron on any level, you never have to jump through hoops. Your name's there, you're automatically into the prize pool. Never have to like, share, nothing ever again. As long as you're paying member, you're good. The other thing is, at each tier will be a different upgrade to your entrance. Meaning, at the $3 tier, your name's going to be on the board 3 times. At the $9 tier, your name's going to be on the board 9 times. And at the $25 tier, that's right, your name's going to be entered 25 times to win. So think about that. I mean, think about that. There's 36 entrants. If one of those people was a $25 tier patron, 25, I mean, you're basically 50-50 on winning that thing, practically. A little less. Yeah. Mathematically, that doesn't hold water, but you get what I'm saying. You'd have a much higher likelihood of winning. So yeah. So there's just a little extra. Maybe it's worth, because this prize package, it's hard to put a number value, but you're going to be getting a celebrity autographed item. You're going to be getting an original piece of artwork, a hand-drawn original piece of artwork, and lots of other swell swag and items and things. Roughly minimum $100 minimum.
Yes.
For a free prize, you did nothing but like and share a page to win. So, and depending, I'll get with the person that's going to win the prize, depending on, because I always like to customize the box to something that they would really appreciate. And that also makes the size questionable, because some items I have are very large. And so if it's a small enough item, I cover the shipping. It's the least I can do. If they're picking large items, then they might have to cover shipping. That's just, hey, I think that's fair.
Right.
Because it can get pretty costly to, yes. Elijah, you missed the memo on the contest. I'm sorry, man. You got to like the Facebook page, Pop Culture Warrior on Facebook. That's where I put all this info out. Or become a patron of the page, and you'll be automatically entered whether you know there's a contest or not. You could end up getting a message from me going like, yo, you won the contest. Like, I didn't even know there was a contest. Well, you're a patron. That's how it works.
That's how that shit works.
So, yeah. So for those that don't understand why we do the contest, I made a promise at the beginning of the show. Every 250 new likes or follows to the Pop Culture Warrior page, we're going to do a giveaway. So we did one at 250. We did one at 500. This is our 750 milestone contest, which we're already at like 8 something. We're at like 850 or I don't know, some crazy. We jumped up real quick. But yeah, so the next one will be at 1,000. And let me tell you, the prize at the 1,000, I've already put it aside. It is something that, yeah, it's going to be huge. When we hit 1,000, it's going to be huge. I'm going to leave it at that. All right. So enough teasing, enough coddling. Let's give it a couple more shuffles just to show. I'm trying to click on the video screen. Like, why is this shuffling? I'm supposed to be clicking over here.
Shuffling at all.
There it is. I was clicking on the actual like image, not the actual screen. Anyway. All right. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. I think it's got sound. Here we go. Fingers crossed. Good luck to everybody, and we'll see what happens. I don't know who's gonna win this. I'm a little curious. It's gonna stop. Holy shit, that was loud. Sorry about that. Didn't realize it was going to be that loud. Wow. Okay, Christopher Mulgrew is our winner. I thought there was going to stop on, what was it? Angie Herrera. I thought it was going to stop on there for a second. But it is Christopher Mulgrew. So we will reach out to Mr. Mulgrew, and we'll figure out, we'll send him out a prize package. And now what I'll do is, I'll take some pictures, and before I send it out, send it out because I want it to be a surprise. But send it out when they get it. Then I'll post the pictures and see if they'll post a picture of them with the prizes. And yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun for everybody. Congratulations, Christopher. Sorry, guys, if you didn't win. You were in it. You were this close. Join the Patreon page.
Right.
Multiply your chances.
Will get you more entries.
Yeah. Even if you put in 3, and you triple your chances of winning.
Literally triple your chances
for $3. For $3, you triple your chances, and you never got to jump through hoops. That's the best part. You never have to like, share, comment, subscribe, whatever. Like you're in. You're done. It's done. Do you you have time for one more story before we head out for the night?
Yeah, we'll make it quick.
All right, head up. You know what that sound means.
That means. All right.
That means we got some Tiger King news. Tiger King. We need a cue for that. Tiger King. All right. In the world of Tiger King. You know what? I'm gonna switch this over to, you gotta be in the right section. What the fuck news of the week? The latest development, because I know you love your Tiger King, is that you do love you some Tiger King. We've got we've talked tons about our boy Joe Exotic. Talked about Carol Baskin. So this week we got an update on the one and only Jeff Lowe. The man who took the Tiger King's park. Well, headline says federal officials have seized 69 animals from Jeff Lowe's Tiger King Park. Federal law enforcement officers seized 69 big cats from the Tiger King Park. The Justice Department said Thursday accused owners Jeff and Lauren Lowe, who were featured in the Tiger King documentary series, of a litany of Endangered Species Acts violations. Authorities seized 46 tigers, 7 lions, 15 ligers, lion-tiger hybrids, and 1 jaguar that were being abused and mistreated by the couple at their facility in Thackersville, Oklahoma. So
that's pretty much my favorite mythical creature.
The liger. I mean, they're not mythical; they're real. They're lion tiger hybrids.
You missed the reference.
I know.
Right,
we just did this the other week.
It would have been better if it was last week, though, huh?
Yeah, it would have been much better last week. Somebody didn't show up for the back half of the show.
Somebody's kid almost died at soccer.
Died of a bruised knee.
Fuck it. He really. Fucking kids can kick now, man. He's like 12, so he can boot it.
But anyway, yeah. So our man Lowe is running short on. I mean, based on the documentary, he could get 69 cats, birthing them in like a season or two. That's not gonna be a big deal for him. But yeah, there you go. Our the Tiger King Park over here is fastly dwindling in numbers.
I'm just so happy that it's still a fucking shit show. After all this time,
it's continuing.
It's still just a massive shit show.
There's more to it. I didn't dive all the way down the rabbit hole, but there was apparently a story that he went to Carol Baskin's property and was like screaming at her from the lawn, and the police got involved. And then apparently he's got a letter from an anonymous tipster that mailed him a letter in like weird handwritten block letters saying like the body is hidden under the the septic tank, basically saying that the Carol Baskin's dead husband is buried under the property. And yeah, there's just so much.
I mean, okay, I could get drunk and fucking send that same letter too. Right. These people are fucking ridiculous, man, and I love it. I'm not trying to say like that's a bad thing. Like, be ridiculous. That's why we love you.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole crew is.
Season 2 is gonna be the bomb.
Is anyone gonna be around for season 2?
That's gonna be the cliffhanger ending. Is like they've been dead for 10 years. That's the only way you top it. It's like this has all been a figment of Joe Exotic's imagination. This was all a meth-induced dream that Joe Exotic had. But anyway, All right,
All right.
guys, with that, we have reached the end of our episode 59 of Pop Culture Warrior. It has been an absolute blast hanging with all of you guys. Mr. Radar, would you like to tell the folks at home what they've won?
Well, what they've won is they've won an hour, actually, but 2.5 hours tonight with Pop Culture Warrior, CQ and Radar. Tomorrow night, Donza, day of no scheduled activities. We will have the night off. Thursday night, you've got Sergeant's Time, Ice, Spanky, Sergeants. Big Army, Little Army, National Guard Reserve, all the armies they're sergeanting, they'll bring him up to date, bring you up to speed on that. Friday night Freedom with Kaz and Pookie. They have some fun times over there. Check them out. Good times. Saturday, Sunday, weekend off. You get it? It's us. Monday edition. Ice and is it Flash still? Like, I don't know who's gonna be on with Ice. Ice will be there because it's Monday, and we're talking about all things like current events and army stuff and all kinds of weird shit. It's a good time. The Monday edition is a good show. Be there. Come back to us on Tuesday nights with fucking Pop Culture Warrior.
One of these days, you're gonna get good at this. One of these days.
It was been like 59 fucking episodes now.
It's only like a year and a half. Whatever.
It's been like a year and a half.
Barely started.
I want to say Tied Up Tuesday. I still want to say fucking Tied Up Tuesday, dude.
It's all right, man.
I've done this show for considerably longer than I did Tied Up Tuesday, and I still want to say ever.
You know what? It's not about the time. It's the quality, not the quantity. That's what it is.
Well, good thing it's not about quality. If it was about quality, I probably wouldn't be here.
You said it, not me. All right, guys. Before we log off, I'll tell you. Tune in next week. We've got more show for you. Our guest next week is going to be Scott Mann. If you were around last Wednesday, we aired here at the station. What was it called? Last Out, Elegy of a Green Beret, and it was phenomenal.
Yes.
Really, really well done. It hit me hard, man. It hit me real hard. I recommend if you missed it, go back and watch it. It also, I think, affected me a little bit more than it probably would have. I had lost a friend that day. Like that morning, I gotten a message that a good friend of mine had passed, and so I was really in a raw place throughout the day. And then to watch that movie, that play/movie, that night really hit hard. And but it was good. In a good way.
Mm-hmm.
In a good way.
Yeah.
So we got Scott Mann, who's the lead guy, the writer, the Green Beret, coming on to talk all about it and what's going on with that. So that's gonna be a great show. The 15th, there won't be a live. 2 weeks from today, there won't be a live Pop Culture Warrior. I'm working on doing an interview, pre-recorded interview that will play in its place. I'm on vacation that week. I'm on vacation, man. Even I need a vacation. Shit.
It's summertime. Our vacation.
It's our times, man. This is our time. It's our time. You know what movie that is? Put you on the spot now. Then the 22nd, the last one I'll talk about is the week after my vacation. I am super excited. That's going to be such a fun one. Got Rob Paulsen. If you don't know who that is, you've probably heard the voice. He's done a billion different animated characters. Probably the most popular being Pinky from Pinky and the Brain on the Animaniacs. He was also one of the Animaniacs. I think it was Wacko on the Animaniacs. Or no, Yakko. He was Yakko. No. Wacko. Yakko. Yeah, Wacko was the silly one. Yakko was the talker. Yeah, he was Yakko on Animaniacs and a bunch of other things. So we're going to talk to him, and it's going to be a phenomenal soldier. Hey, Justin, I see you, man. Sky Soldiers. That's what I'm talking about. And with that, we come to the end of another fabulous edition of Pop Culture Warrior. I've been CQ. He's been Radar. You guys have been awesome. With that, thank you, and we'll see you next week. Shuts.